What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another Fringe Financials video. In today's video, we are breaking down breaking news that just came out yesterday. Weeble, get out of here. AppLovin and Robinhood have just been added to the S&P 500. So we're going to cover this a little bit, talk about what it means for these stocks. If you are excited for today's video, make sure that you smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, turn on those bell notifications for all future uploads. So shares of advertising company AppLovin and stock trading app Robinhood Markets each jumped about 7% in extended trading on Friday after S&P Global said the two will join the S&P 500 index. Robinhood, as we know, is the platform I do a lot of trading with in my brokerage account, and AppLovin, as we know, is a stock that made me lose 1,500 in Bitcoin on the last trivia question last year. Yes, I am still salty about it, but what does this mean? So the changes will go into effect at the beginning of trading on September 22nd. AppLovin is going to replace Market Access Holdings, while Robinhood will take the place of Caesars Entertainment. So basically, again, it's S&P 500, top 500 companies that are being traded, and when two companies get put in, other two are taken out as a result. In March, short seller Fuzzy Panda Research, what a great name, by the way, advertised the committee for the large cap U.S. index to keep AppLovin from becoming a constituent. AppLovin shares dropped 15% in December when the committee picked Workday to join the S&P 500. Robinhood, for its part, saw shares slip 2% in June when it was excluded from a quarterly rebalancing of the index. The S&P 500 has a heavy concentration of large technology companies. Datadog and DoorDash entered earlier this year. It's not normal for stocks to go up on news of their inclusion in the major index such as the S&P 500. Fund managers need to buy shares to reflect the updates. So, what does that basically mean? So they say it's not normal. It is normal. It is normal for them to go up afterwards. And again, the reason why is because stocks get these big moves because now that you're included in the S&P 500, anytime somebody buys SPY into any of the indices, VOO, whatever the case is, they have the exposure to the S&P 500. That means they're also getting a small percentage of ownership in Robinhood and AppLovin, which is good for them because now the accessibility to buying their shares has now expanded. And if you take a look at the charts here, Robinhood had a huge bump up after hours towards over $110 at one point. Then it kind of came back down to about 107. AppLovin also had a huge rocket as well after hours up to 537, and now it's back down to 521. So big moves in both of these companies because it's good news that now fund managers will need to buy the shares to put it into VOO and SPY. So that's why these stock prices went up so much. Robinhood has been a favorite among retailers who have bid up shares of meme stocks like AMC and GameStop back in 2021, and everyone made fun of Robinhood a long time ago. Once we had the whole thing with AMC and GameStop, people didn't like it anymore. They were afraid of Robinhood and even using them as a brokerage because of what they were doing. And now look what they have. They have cryptocurrency on there. They have mortgage rates you can get through there. They have predictions in sports, those kind of things. And now they're in the S&P 500. Absolutely amazing. AppLovin itself became a stock to watch with shares gaining 273% in 2023 and over 700% in 2024. And I remember that because it's the last trivia question on Robinhood and it said, which stock went up the most in 2024? And it was NVIDIA, Palantir, and AppLovin. I knew it was NVIDIA. What did your boy pick? Palantir. What was it actually? AppLovin. So it's all right, though. AppLovin software brings targeted ads to mobile apps and games. Earlier this year, AppLovin offered to buy the U.S. TikTok business from China's ByteDance. U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly extended the deadline for a sale, most recently in June. At Robinhood's annual general meeting in June, a shareholder asked Vlad, the company's co-founder and CEO, if there are plans for getting into the S&P 500, and he said it's a difficult thing to plan for. There is a checklist that you have to hit in order to actually be included in the S&P 500. It's not just you get it because you want to. You get it based off of a certain checklist. Shares of Market Access, which specializes in fixed income trading, have fallen 17%, while Caesars is down 21%. Now, I wonder what Caesars is at now. At the being bump. Nothing really crazy. So no real reaction here to the bump here, but if you take a look at the daily chart here, it has just not been on a good trend here for Caesars Entertainment and the other one as well. But it is what it is. And again, other things to keep in mind about. So again, 3 new companies were actually included in here. Robinhood is taking over for the Caesars. Market access is being taken over by AppLovin, and MCore also was added in there, taken over for Enphase Energy. So I don't know what happened with Enphase as a result of this. Enphase, let's see. Enphase down 2% after hours as a result of that, probably because of that news announcement that are going to be out of the S&P 500. And the other stock that no one really talks about is MCore, EME, which again, here's that big spike you get as well. Not as big of a movement compared to Robinhood and to AppLovin, but not a lot of people trade MCore as much. The average volume is 400,000 shares compared to AppLovin and Robinhood, which is a lot more than that. So probably not as much of a reaction right now, at least from it. Leading up to the decision, investors engaged in a favored niche pastime, trying to guess and perhaps trade ahead of the news what the picks may be. Robinhood and AppLovin were popular, so was Bitcoin Treasury Company Strategy, which did not make the cut, unfortunately. They talk about how it works, the idea behind it. The rebalancing process takes place quarterly, March, June, September, and December. This was the one for September, so market counters for December that will happen next. There was no changes announced in June. So very, very interesting news to talk about here. Now, if you think about the ideas behind what goes on in this one here, again, this is really, really good for Robinhood and for AppLovin because, like we said before, now everybody who buys into index funds, which a lot of people love to have, a lot of people like index funds. They trade it in their mutual funds, into their indexes, into their retirements, whatever the case is. Everybody buys SPY, VOO, those kind of things. And now that these companies, Robinhood and AppLovin, now are able to be put into these funds because they have to, that is overall very, very good for the stock. And Robinhood has done a lot of really good innovating things over the years, with all the different, updates they have and stuff like that, and what they've been doing as a platform. They're doing absolutely awesome. AppLovin, same thing, has been on a tear recently with mobile app advertisements, stuff like that. So those are two companies that are going to do very, very well, I think, from this in the long-term game here. Now, it's a huge deal, but please keep in mind about these stocks can still move up and down here. Trade Desk was put into the S&P 500. I forgot when. They were put in the S&P 500 a little while ago. I could probably Google it actually, but I don't feel like doing it. So Trade Desk was put into there a little while ago. And again, this stock has been taking a beating still ever since. Another one I think that was added in was Block, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I feel like Block was also added to the S&P. I want to say it was maybe at some point. Let's Google it because why not? When was XYZ added to S&P 500? July of 23rd, 2023. So they were added to S&P 500 there. So if you look at July 2023, where is July? That was right around here. So when they get this big spike in the volume here. But ever since that spike, it's kind of traded sideways a little bit for XYZ for Block. So again, is this rally going to continue for Robinhood and for AppLovin? Most likely not, but AppLovin has been on a nice recovery since the Liberation Day. Robinhood, same thing, has been on just an absolute tear as a result of it. So these companies can tend to do really, really well from it as a result of it, but it's not going to be guaranteed to do this for a long period of time here. But we shall obviously see. So that is it. It's a little bit of a shorter video here, but it's kind of breaking down the breaking news that AppLovin and Robinhood have now been added to the S&P 500, which is great news for investors. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you made it far in the video, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those bell notifications for all future uploads. Hope you're making money in the market as per usual, and I will catch you guys in the next video.